Hello everybody, hope you're all having a good day today. It's a beautiful day here in the Carolinas and we're going to make some puff pastry dough. We can use this dough for a lot of different baking dishes that we like to make. The puff pastry dough goes well with sweet or savory dishes. So what we have here to start with is 2 cups of flour. So there's 2 cups of flour here and a half a teaspoon of salt in that flour. We have 1 tablespoon of sugar. We have 4 tablespoons of room temperature soft butter. We have 1.5 teaspoons of dry active yeast. There is 1 egg that we have. We're going to beat the egg and add that to the dough as well. And we have 2/3 cup of liquid milk and water. So that's 1/3 cup of water and 1/3 cup of milk to give us 2/3 total liquid. So what we're going to do is I'm going to mix this together, and then we're going to take the dough. We're going to get it kneaded out well and get it rested in the refrigerator, and then we'll fold in our soft butter afterwards. So I'll show you how the process goes. First thing we need to do is get the dough mixed together. Okay, first we're going to stir in the salt to the flour. We have the sugar here. I'm going to put that in. We have the yeast. We're going to add the yeast in. I'm going to stir this in. Then we're going to take our egg and we're going to crack our egg. And we're going to beat that a little bit and add it to the mixture as well. Okay, so we're going to add our water and milk mixture, and you want everything to be at room temperature. Your milk and water, you can heat it up a little bit. You don't want it to get hot or boiling, but you want it to be at warm as well, and that's going to help activate the yeast. And next we have our egg, which we beat it up. We're going to add the egg here. And now we're going to start mixing. Once we get the eggs and the liquid and the flour combined, then we will add our softened butter. Okay, so once our dough starts to come together, we're going to fold it out onto the counter and start kneading the dough. Okay, so after the dough is kneaded out, we're going to wrap it. We're going to put it in the refrigerator, let the dough chill and rest. And we're going to leave it in the refrigerator for 2 hours at least, maybe 3. We want this dough to get cold, because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to fold in the stick of butter into this dough, and I'll show you how we do that next. But we're going to get the dough in the refrigerator first, and then we'll move on to the butter. Okay, so now we're going to prepare our butter to be folding to the dough. So pastry dough is a flaky, layery, buttery flavored dough. So what the butter does is we're going to roll this out into a square type shape, and we're going to put it back in the refrigerator. We're going to let it get hard again, and we're going to take our dough out. We're going to roll the dough out. We're going to set the butter on half of the dough. We're going to fold it over and fold it over again, and then we're going to roll it out. And we're going to continue with that folding and rolling process at least 3 to 4 times. And we're going to build up a bunch of layers of butter between the dough, and then when we bake it, it'll rise up and it'll be flaky. So we're going to get started with the butter now. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take it out of this wrapping here. Place it back down onto the parchment paper. And I like to use parchment paper because it doesn't stick as much. So the first thing I do is just start pressing it down with your hand. Because the butter's soft. So get started with your hand. There we go. And then next, I'm just going to gently roll it out with the pen. Well, let's do it like this here, and gently roll it out. You don't want to put too much pressure. If you do, your rolling pin will go all the way through the butter, and that is not what we want. So we just kind of want to keep rolling it out here. Applying a little pressure. And I could see it getting thinner. And that's what we're looking for. Okay, maybe a couple more rolls here. Okay, so now we have a nice thin layer of butter here. If I pull it off now, it'll stick. So what we're going to do is we have to let it get cold. Once it gets very cold, we'll be able to remove the paper without any problem. All right, our next step is to fold the butter into the dough. This dough has been in the refrigerator for a few hours now, and as you can see, it's expanded. It's actually kind of broken out of the plastic here. So we're gonna get this down on the counter, we're gonna roll it out, and then we're gonna fold the butter into it. Okay, the dough has been rolled out. It's into a nice rectangular type shape. Remember the butter that we had prepared earlier? We put it in the parchment paper. So what we're gonna do now, just gonna remove this paper from the butter. It should come right off for you. Now you take your butter and you lay it right there on your dough. So I hope everyone can see that good. We have the butter here in the dough. We're gonna just press it down a little bit. We're gonna take the other side of the dough and we're gonna fold it over. I'm gonna cover up all the butter. So now we have folded the butter into the dough. We're going to fold this dough over one more time. Just like this here. And we're going to roll it just a little bit. So this is what we, or at least what I have been calling fold and roll. We fold the dough in and then we start rolling it. So we fold the butter into the dough and we start rolling it. So now we will continue to roll out the dough. We'll fold it up again, place it back in the refrigerator, and we'll repeat this process in a couple of hours. Or we'll repeat the rolling out process in a couple of hours. Okay, we have our dough out of the refrigerator. We're gonna roll it out and fold it again. This will be the second time we've done this process of rolling and folding. First we rolled it out and we folded the butter into the dough. And now we're gonna roll it out and fold it over. And each time we do this process, we add layers of flakiness to the dough. So I'm gonna get it out of the plastic here. I'm gonna put it out on the counter. We're gonna roll it out. And I can actually see the butter in the dough. So if you see pieces of butter in your dough, don't get worried about that. That's part of the process, so you will sometimes see little flakes of butter. But that's good. So now we're going to roll out. And the dough is nice and soft. It feels good. I think we're going to end up with a very good pastry dough once this is complete. So I'm going to finish rolling this out into a rectangle about so big. Then I'm going to fold it over 3 times, then fold it in half again, and then we're going to put it back into the refrigerator. Okay, everybody, 2 days ago we started making our dough, this pastry dough. So we have rolled it out and folded it 4 times now. We have a stick of butter folded into this dough here. So we got some very good pastry dough to work with. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna make a filling to make our pastry with. So I have 4 ounces of cream cheese here. I have a tablespoon of granulated sugar, tablespoon of brown sugar. We have 1 egg yolk, some vanilla extract. We have some orange zest, and we have some chopped walnuts. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix these ingredients together and make us a filling. We're gonna roll out our dough and we're gonna make a nice pastry and get it in the oven. So I'm gonna start on that process. and we'll get this pastry in the oven. Okay, so we want to flour our surface. We want to take our dough here, and I think we can make us a nice braid, pastry braid here. So we're going to take half of the dough, and I don't know if you guys can see how it has puffed up here, and there's flakes of butter in there. You can see those flakes of butter. That's going to give it the flakiness that we're looking for. So we're going to, and remember, when you're not working with your dough, you always want to keep it covered up. And actually this piece right here, we're going to put back in the fridge, covered up. That way our dough will stay nice and moist. Now this piece of dough here, we're going to work this out and roll this out into a rectangle, and we're going to make a braid out of it. Okay, so we have rolled out the dough and we made these cuts here. So I measured it into thirds. So this side over here and this side here will be folded over. In the center is where we'll put our filling. We'll put our filling in the center. What we're going to do first is we're going to rub some egg wash on the edge of the dough all the way around. And then the next thing we will do is we will add our filling. Okay, now that we have the filling in the pastry and we braided it over, we're going to move it over to our baking sheet. And that's why we do this on the parchment paper. That makes it easier for us to move our pastry over to our baking sheet. So we're just gonna gently lift it up, slide it over here. Now it's on the baking sheet. We're gonna egg wash it again and let it set for 20 minutes before we put it in a 375-degree oven. Okay, here's our pastry, fresh out of the oven. So what we got to do now is we're going to let this cool off. There's a couple of ways we can serve this. We could put some icing, drizzle icing over the top. You could use some powdered sugar. You could serve it with some fruit. But it has that very tasty walnut orange cream cheese filling inside. So we're going to let it cool and then we'll cut it. Okay, everyone, our pastry has cooled down and I cut 2 slices of it and I plated it with some orange and mint garnish here. I had dusted some powdered sugar over the top. You can see a filling inside, which is a walnut cream cheese orange zest filling. There's lots of flakes in the pastry. It browned up really good. Looks nice. Here's a piece here where you can see we have lots of air in there in between the pastry dough. So it's nice and flaky, soft. It's not nice browning on the bottom. Turned out really good. I think we added the right amount of butter to the pastry dough, so it came out good. So just a quick taste here. See what it tastes like. Very good. The dough is soft, sweetness, not too sweet. This would go great with your cup of coffee, hot tea, hot chocolate. Definitely a very good pastry. And we're going to be making some more. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. And please come back and visit us again. Thank you. Have a good day.